The historic Carondelet-Markham Memorial Presbyterian Church on the south side of St. Louis. Incredibly, still alive, reflecting the dramatic change that has happened to them, their church, and what was their traditional white blue-collar neighborhood. A story of transformation and new life found in serving others.
We are happy to greet everyone, especially
Reverend Susan Finley was hired in 2003 as the church's first full-time pastor in 10 years.
There were just about 17 people that were coming to church on Sunday morning. Go and share all these.
Then, in February of 2005, Esther Karku, a refugee from Liberia, showed up. She was looking for a church that would welcome her and her 2 daughters into worship.
They weren't finding that in other churches. The accent was too heavy, or nobody cared to come and talk to them at home, or they were just too different.
Altricia and Rita wanted to sing, which they did the following Sunday. Longtime members, Sisters Phyllis Lyons and organist Shirley Snodgrass, could hardly believe how musically gifted the girls were, how beautiful they sounded.
I don't know, when I first heard them with a little choir, they wanted to sing. And oh my word, it was like heaven.
I was happy when we came here and they welcomed us from different countries. They wanted to listen to our music, our songs, and learn it.
The Karkus lived right here near the church. They'd been told by their sponsoring agency not to turn on their heat until Esther had a job.
And it was very cold in February in their apartment. They were huddled in blankets when I came to call on them.
My life was like miserable because I doesn't know anybody to run to.
The church responded, setting aside $500 a month to pay for any material needs the refugees might have.
We asked Esther, who else is out there that is not turning on their heat because they don't have a job and they're afraid they won't be able to pay a bill?
As word spread quickly, Carondelet-Markham cares about the Liberian community. Church leaders began to pray for the refugees in their neighborhood.
We saw people who never used to agree to anything, and all of a sudden they were beginning to change their minds. They knew that we were going to be closing our church if we didn't do something drastic.
A passage from 1 John inspired them to become a servanthood church. How does God's love abide in anyone who has the world's goods and sees a brother or sister in need and yet refuses to help?
We've taught people to drive. We've taken people to the doctor for the very first time, people who've never been to a doctor. We've helped people get registered for school. We've made sure that people have food, gotten their clothes washed, understood how to take the bus to work and back. We've done tons of job applications. In that spirit of servanthood, we come to the reading of the prophet Isaiah. We're all sent out to be servants of the Lord.
By July of 2005, 15 Liberian families had joined the church. Music was becoming increasingly important to them.
They appeared with a drum set, a cymbal, bass drum. And when I went in church and heard that, the first time he did a crash bang on the cymbal. Oh, what happened? I didn't know what was going on. Really, I was stunned. I thought of leaving then.
Those who stayed were getting to know the Liberians. Their faith was deepening, even as it was being tested.
There were fairly blatant comments about why they would choose to invite people so different from themselves into worship with them. 5
years ago, 17 Presbyterians at Carondelet-Markham chose to welcome one woman and her 2 daughters in worship. Open to receiving their gifts and embracing life, they have grown in servanthood.
Sometimes we still shed tears when they talk about the suffering that they've experienced.
I was so happy to meet this lady, Pastor Susan, and she's very kind.
We have learned that if we shed tears together, that there's a certain comfort.
It's pleasing and we're happy.
And in the end, that's all that it's about. Somebody cares whether you have food the next day, or somebody cares whether you're going to make it in the city.
I think that I am on my way to new life.
That kind of servanthood really changes lives.
Yes,